when I started Amazon, it was 25 years ago. I started Amazon in 1994. When I went to seek investors, the first question I had to answer is, what is the internet? The idea that I had in mind was to build a bookstore. I realized that we could build a store which would have every book ever printed in any language, in print or out of print. And we could do that online. It would be impossible. My dream when I started Amazon was that one day we might be able to afford a forklift. And so I started studying computer science. And computer science I really fell in love with, and it became a real passion of mine. And that's how I ended up doing Amazon. We try to sell everything that anyone might want to buy, and we're trying to make it as convenient as possible for people. In the early 21st century, we're all busy. Everybody in this room is busy. And if you can save people time, let them spend more time with their families and with their friends and doing the things that they really enjoy, then you're doing them a real service. Because we have hundreds of millions of customers around the world, and no matter how good we are, we can still be better. You can always be better. Customers have a divine discontent, and they teach you if you listen to customers. So we watch for that, and we see patterns, and we can find places where it's not working, something's going wrong, and that's really how I get the feedback, is from customer input, so that particular problem will never happen again. You don't just fix the symptom, you have to fix the root cause. And that's been the secret to our operational success for 20 years. And what I want Amazon Studios to be all over the world, I want us to be known as the most talent-friendly studio in the world. Look, there are a lot of things that are a waste of time. When you think about your life, I often tell people that I work with, if you can get, because people have very high standards for how they want their work life to be. And I said, look, if you can get your work life to be where you enjoy half of it, that is amazing. Because very few people ever achieve that. Because the truth is, everything comes with overhead. That's reality. Everything comes with pieces that you don't like. I tell senior executives, you should have the least stress. There's this weird, I think, false idea that CEOs, I'm a CEO, there's this false idea that CEOs are under the most stress. Well, I look at that, I'm like, why? You're in charge. Why don't you delegate the stress? It's your choice. And so you have to figure out how to set up your life in such a way that you can minimize the things. We all have the same amount of time in the world. Nobody has more time than anybody else. And when you become a very successful person, one of the things, you start to get overscheduled. You have this event. You had to agree to do this. And maybe last night you were like, why did I agree to do this? I have to go on stage tomorrow. I wish I were really with my family. So a young person starting their career, I think there are probably a lot of things. Some of them are very well known and people have heard them many times. They're still true. One of those is you should always focus on, a young person should find something that they're passionate about to do. And that's not going to surprise anyone. It's a clear thing to do. It's very hard. If you don't love your work, you're never going to be great at it. I think the other thing I would suggest to any young person, even before they start their career, is to really think about their choices. Because I find young people, and when I was young, I made this mistake too. You can get very fixed on your gifts. So everybody has gifts. You have gifts and you have things that you didn't get gifted. Maybe you're extremely beautiful. Maybe you're extremely good at mathematics. There are a lot of things that you can be given. But those things can confuse you because they're not the things that construct your life. It's your choices that construct your life, not your gifts. You can celebrate your gifts. Be proud of them. Be happy of them. Actually, don't be proud of them. Be celebratory of them. But you can't be proud because they're gifts. They were given to you. You didn't earn them. You can only be proud of the things you earn. And so as I got older, I started to realize I wasn't proud of my gifts. I was always good at school. School was always easy for me. And I was always proud that I was a great student. I got A's in all my classes. I was good at math, all of that. And I thought that's who I was. But it's not true. Those are the things that are gifts. What was hard for me is deciding to work hard, deciding to use my gifts in certain ways, to challenge myself, to do things that I didn't think I could do, to put myself in uncomfortable situations. We all get, I would say to a young person, you can choose a life of ease and comfort, or you can choose a life of service and adventure. Which one of those, when you're 90 years old, are you going to be more proud of? Well, Blue Origin is my space company, and I have been interested in space since I was a 5-year-old boy. I watched Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin step onto the surface of the moon, and I believe it's important that humanity expand out into the solar system. I think it's important for this planet. We have a very small planet, and humanity has now gotten very big. Anybody who doesn't believe in climate change, 20 years ago, maybe you could excuse people for wondering if it's real. Today, there's so much evidence. The people who don't believe in the problem of climate change are really fooling themselves. It's an important problem, and one of the ways, there are many things we have to do about that, about climate change. But long term, one of the things that we need to do if we want to continue to have a dynamic civilization, a dynamic species, is we need to go use the near infinite resources of space. And we can do that, but we need a new generation of entrepreneurs who can access space, and the infrastructure doesn't exist. So the analogy that I would offer to you is that in the internet, what I've watched over the last 20 years and been a part of, that in the internet, Mark Zuckerberg in his dorm room could create this $500 billion market cap company called Facebook. In space today, it's impossible for a college kid in their dorm room to create a great space company because the price of admission is too high. It starts in the hundreds of millions of dollars and goes up from there. And so the job of Blue Origin, our job, we want to build reusable space vehicles that lower the cost of access to space to such a sufficient degree that the next generation of kids can start space companies in their dorm room. And we can have a dynamic thing. And then once that happens, we'll start moving all heavy industry and polluting industry. All of that will be moved to space. And we can zone Earth residential and light industry. If I were a young college student today, I would be very interested in biotechnology. I think biotechnology is just a fascinating arena that probably in the next 10 or 20 years, there's going to be a golden age of biotech. One of the golden ages that's happening right now before our eyes is also artificial intelligence and machine learning. So that's another arena that I would be very interested in. My backup career is I'm a very good bartender. So if all else fails, you'll see me at the local bar and I'll be making your drinks slowly, but they'll be good.
They'll be good.
That was never plan B. The real plan B, if Amazon hadn't worked out, I would be an extremely happy software programmer.